Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by, checking out another one of our videos. On the table with us today, we have a beautiful little mini doodle named Loki. This is our first time meeting Loki, and we quickly realized that Loki was extremely matted. So we figured, why not film him and show you what we do on a daily basis. Right here, we're just inspecting him, showing you the mats here, how severe they are. You can see when I just tug on the mat, the whole leg seems to move. That's because the mat is engulfing the entire leg. These mats are very, very severe, guys, so we have to shave Loki down in this video. This is his armpit area. And guys, this is the first time we met Loki, so it's a really big job to do when first meeting a dog for the first time. I really want to gain his trust. But here you could see I just needed to find a starting point, and I started right behind the back of his neck. And I'm kind of just going down and separating and just getting the process started. And I'm using an 8.5 blade here. You can see I'm just trying to pull the mats apart and at least get a starting point. Here's the mat coming out in one solid piece, right from that spot there. And you can see how severe the matting is. I'm just trying to do little strokes, guys, and just get underneath that mat. Piece by piece, just another big solid piece. Guys, just take a look at this dog. He is an absolute angel. So I'm really just working the areas that are easiest to get to. I have him sitting down because this grooming is going to be a very long process. So I want him to rest as much as he possibly can. He seemed to really appreciate what we were doing. And I just stood him up here to get the rear, but again, I'm just doing the topical area here, his back and his torso, and getting that done first just to save time on what I have to do later, which is his underside and the harder areas to reach. I'm just doing the left side of his body here. I'm using my left hand here, guys. As we always mention, if you're a groomer, if you're practicing to be a groomer, try to use your opposing hand as much as you can. You'll find it to be very, very useful in certain situations when grooming. So I'm still using the 8.5 here, and I'm working his rear a little bit and down his back left leg. And I'm trying to let the blade do most of the work. I'm not pushing the blade too much, as opposed to kind of just placing it. You don't want to push the blade too hard because you will lift skin, and there's a higher chance that you will nick the dog. I was struggling in this area right here because the mat was just way too tight. At this point I decided to change the blade and use a 10 blade just to make it a little bit safer and get under that mat a little easier because the 8.5 just wasn't doing it. You can see how close to the skin I am here. I'm working the inside of the leg here. Finally got through that mat. It's one big solid piece there, guys. That's his whole back leg. I decided to jump around a little bit, and I started working on his front left leg here, and you could actually see some skin here. This is how severely matted this dog was, guys, so that's why I'm trying to be as careful as I possibly can. I've sprayed the blade down multiple times when doing this, and I actually switched off from the 8.5 and the 10 very frequently. And I switched off from the 8.5 to the 10 blade frequently. It's another just solid mat here, guys, and you can just see how tight these mats are. You can't even pull them apart. They're just so woven together. So when it's attached to the skin, it's extremely uncomfortable for the dog. Again, guys, just spray the blades down so that you're not clipper burning the dog. So I'm always trying to find some kind of vantage point, some kind of area where I can just kind of break through and have another starting point. Guys, if you're not professional groomers, please don't attempt this at home. This is really a job that's just made for a professional groomer. You don't really want to do this unless you feel absolutely confident in doing it. You really have to give it up for Loki here for just being so cooperative. Not all dogs are going to let you do this so easily as Loki is. Loki is such a good dog. He's staying so still for us and really allowing me to do the intense work that I'm doing. So you really have to give it up for Loki here. Just coming down his front paw and just kind of trying to get whatever I can done. And I'm still using a 10 blade here. Now I'm working the right rear, and I switched off to a 7F here. And the F just stands for fine, guys, which Anybody that knows their blades is going to understand that it's not what's called a skipped tooth. You don't want to use a skipped tooth blade on this. You want to use a fine, which is like an 8.5 or a 7F or a 10 blade. And right here, guys, you can really see what the mats do to the skin. This is what the mat is doing to the skin the whole time it's on the dog. Yeah, I'm just showing you my hand here. It's shaking a little bit. Not so much that I'm so nervous. It's a combination of being nervous and just kind of holding the clipper for such a long period of time. So I'm switching back to my 10. And just want to release that mat and give him some relief. This guy is just an absolute angel, guys. He has beautiful eyes. Every inch of this dog was matted. We had given Loki a break in between, just so that he can rest and, you know, gather himself, so that he just wasn't on the table for such a long period of time. Just telling him what a good boy he's being. So now we're working the lower neck area, the chest area. Back of his head. I started to feel a lot better at this point, a little more confident that I can get this grooming done. Mats behind the ears. A lot of times these mats will go from behind the ear right into the neck area. So I'm switching to a snap-on comb here, a number 4 snap-on comb, only for safety. The neck area, guys, if you're groomers out there, I'm sure there's not a groomer out there that has not accidentally cut or nicked a dog's neck. You really want to be careful in that neck area. For some reason or another, it just really cuts easily. So I decided to put the snap-on comb on just to create a little bit of a barrier from the blade to the skin. Just kind of skimming his face, and here's that flap of skin that always gets cut, guys. It's notorious for getting nicked. So if you are a groomer out there, please be careful in this area, especially using like a 7F blade. I don't recommend that using a 7F blade, or even a 10. I've cut dogs with a 10 blade in that area, so just be really, really careful. And I find that by using a short snap-on comb, it's a little bit safer. Figure let me clip out under his eyes, Loki's just such a good dog, letting me do absolutely everything. Keep in mind, guys, we just met this dog. This is the first time I've ever met this dog. What a sweetie. What a sweetie. Just fell in love with him. This dog knows nothing but love. Okay, guys, so this is after his bath. We're basically just going over what we did before. I'm using a 7F blade here and just working on evening him out. And again, just going over what we did before, except it's just a lot easier now. Skimming down his front legs here. Down his back. My hands aren't shaking as much anymore because I just feel really, really comfortable now, and I gained his trust, and we really got the hard part over with. So I just feel a lot more comfortable, and so does Loki. A lot of times, guys, groomers don't even know if we're going to get through a grooming. So it really is just trial and error, and we have to start and hopefully get through a grooming, especially a severely matted dog, and especially a dog that you just met. We never know how the dog's going to react. We never know if the dog is going to stay still enough for us in order to do this kind of work. But again, Loki was just a charm, just such a sweet dog. Just using a snap-on comb here, going over his head and trying to create, a cute little doodle head. Scissoring up some bangs. Top of his head. I'm just doing my best to give him some personality, even though he's shaved down. And it's a lot to expect from the dog, guys. He was on our table for a good couple of hours, so he's really getting tired at this point, and I kind of want to just bring the grooming together and have it be over for him. So I'm not too worried about how great he comes out. I really, at this point, just wanted him to know that it was going to be over soon. And again, he's just so good for everything. Every little thing he just let us do. I trimmed down his ears a little bit. Always check for the ear flap, as we always mention. Want to make sure you're not cutting any ear, you're only cutting hair. What a sweet dog this guy is. Here I'm just going over his tail. So after trimming up his head and his face, we just went over his tail a little bit, trimmed up his tail. We did his feet, and that was about it. You know, we really had to call this grooming at some point because he had gone through so much with the initial cut down. So here's your before. And there's your after. He was really, really happy at the end of this grooming, guys. He felt so much better. We could just see his demeanor change. All he wanted to do was kiss us and say thank you. There's a nice shot of my scalp there, a little cut down myself. You could see here, this is all of the hair that we got off of him. It basically came off in one solid piece. Give it up for Loki, guys. What a sweet dog he is. If you like this video, as always, hit the like button and please subscribe if you're new to our channel. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.